Meeting of the Sherman County Board of Commissioners come to order, please.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda for today.
A second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the agenda for the day. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Do we want to do the waste management hearing right away?
8:15. We have to wait till that.
Okay,
That's what was in
okay.
the newspaper.
Well, we can go into the county business or we can do some new business. We have these gentlemen here from Prayer in Action, correct?
Yes,
You have more people coming, or are you the two that are gonna get blamed for most of it?
these two.
Okay.
So, gentlemen, come on up here.
First mistake was wearing that Texas sweatshirt.
Yeah,
Take it off if it helps.
that's why Jason's here. He has to do that.
So, why don't you tell them kind of what Prayer in Action is to begin with, and then we'll go from what you're asking.
Basically, we come and different high schoolers come each week and work on houses. A lot of painting, a lot of yard work and stuff like that. Working like 6 hours a day. I guess typically for the more poor and elderly or disabled. Just trying to get them help if they need it.
Yeah, it says putting their faith in action is kind of what it's about. And kids will come from Junction City, Salina, almost clear across the state in the Salina diocese. That is.
Manhattan's furthest east, I believe.
And it's the first week they have college kids.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
And then after that, it's all high school kids after that. And what they're here for is they are asking us to waive fees for the dump, so they can take things out to the dump without being charged.
And mostly what you'd be taking is yard waste,
Yeah.
very
Majority
little
tree
C and D,
limbs.
no tire, well, we can't waive tires, anyway, if they,
Tires are concrete, right?
tires are concrete. But like the, yard waste and stuff like that, there's no charge anyway for it, so,
They'll probably have some metal.
There's no charge for that.
because they weigh
So
that.
the other thing would be some
C&D.
C&D.
If you're construction demolition equipment,
You think
building,
there'd be
and
very much?
if you're,
There might be
Bricks.
a touch of that, but shouldn't be.
okay. And if I recall, each resident has an allotment of 2,000 pounds per household or
Per
per
household,
address.
see, so I think you're gonna fall underneath all of the charges.
So you're more than welcome to do that and just, they'll need the addresses of whatever house you taking this from and that, we'll figure out if there is billing to be done, that would be what that is, but I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that because you gotta pick up a lot of stuff to,
Tree limbs are free, that's a separate pit. Yard waste is a separate area.
Those are the
C and
biggest
D is a
ones.
pit. The guys out there would direct you where to go. Right.
And I'd separate them before you get there,
yeah.
Yes.
because otherwise you'll have to separate it when you get out there. So I'd just take a load of limbs or,
Yeah, and I was
No,
gonna say,
no metal.
when you know you're gonna be here, we probably should alert them alert the landfill.
Okay.
Do you know when this is gonna happen? What dates you have?
Starts Monday and you go how many weeks?
3 weeks. Start
Four-
four
four
weeks
weeks.
starting Monday.
You start Monday.
Yep.
Okay.
So the month of June.
Yeah, the
Yep,
month of
that's
June.
exactly right.
No, we can let Rod know, or
Yeah.
I can go out and let the guys know.
Okay.
we appreciate you doing that to our community.
Yeah.
And I would say that if there's anybody out there, we might still have a little bit of room to do some more houses, or are you pretty well booked?
I think we're looking like we're getting about there.
But if someone has somebody they have in mind, they could call Amanda Martin and see
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
have extra, so.
Very good.
Gentlemen, it looks like you're good.
All right.
If you run into trouble, let us know, okay?
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Well, we appreciate you doing
Yeah,
this.
thank you very
And
much.
we can go to the thrift store and buy you a better.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and good luck with all your projects.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thanks for your time.
Kid from Oakley wearing a Texas shirt. I'm not for sure about that, you know, so. Well,
Yeah.
gentlemen, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I'll make a motion. We also approve the previous minutes.
Okay.
I will second that.
Been moved in second. We approve the minutes from May 15th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's passed.
We do not have the minutes from the joint city.
Correct.
Okay.
Read this. I'll make a motion to pay the bills of a total of $119,927.94.
I'll second that.
Been moved in second. We pay the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
I did attend the Land Sky Scenic Byway Committee meeting in St. Francis on May the 20th. And they did order the gazebo, the protection,
The cover for
the
the
covers ordered. But they are still, that's only about halfway of what they're needing for money. So they are working on some fundraiser projects to continue to do the rest of that project and hoping to have it done by the end of the year. So,
Because that's the gazebo that's right on Highway 27,
That-
about the Sherman Cheyenne County line. Or is the one going,
this is the one that's gonna be going at the
Okay.
Smoky Turnoff on 27.
that's a contract from Adam Brown and Associate.
You guys read this?
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
was in
read it, I
our,
read it in the notes from Ashley.
Yeah, that's right.
everything's pretty well.
It's the same as last,
Same.
agreement as last year, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the contract with Adams and Browns.
I'll second the motion.
Or CPAs.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay. We had leaks at the roof.
The roof at the fairgrounds,
Not
over here,
over here.
still,
So, yeah. Chad called me 2 days ago and I went in yesterday and they had people working on it again. But, we're,
well, that's what we needed to know.
yeah. They were up there. They had cut one drain close to the electrical box, so they're gonna work on moving that. Other than that, they hadn't, when I was there, they hadn't found any leaks as of yet, but they were running the hose up there to see where,
Okay.
if they could find one, so.
Excuse me, did you say they did find
They
leaks or
did.
they
They
didn't?
did, they did.
Did- okay.
Jail
After
still
the
has
rain,
some leaks.
Okay.
They had a leak in the main hallway. No action on the fire board minutes, so we're good there. Did you get to talk to Hitchcock's?
No, I just went with what you told me, that
Okay.
Hitchcock's would do it, and I
Would.
sent Brian a notice that he could just contact them
Okay,
to have
yeah.
the
Hit-
generator at the fire station serviced.
Because they couldn't find a record of last year, but 2 years ago, they know that they serviced that motor and stuff, and so they were, but we need a motion to authorize them to be the,
To do all three, because they're already doing two.
Right.
The health department here,
and just add that to their list and.
we need a
Okay.
motion on that?
No.
No? Okay.
And Aaron Doyle has not got back to me yet.
That's what I was gonna ask.
On the bid for the fairground electric. So we'll wait and see what he gets with that.
And then we also had the roof at the fairgrounds.
Yes, I talked to the people at the Weathercraft and overhead door, and they, the bid was for $165 an hour. That is for two people, that's two people for laborers, and they thought it would take 8 hours to do the main, the big show barn. And then it'd also take probably another 8 hours to do the chicken barn and the beef barn. So you know, that's $26.50. I think they're we just, you know, they said anything over 1,000, well, per building, well, that, you know, that's under $3,000. And I just would say that if they get over the $3,000 mark, that they need to contact us, because that would give them some leadway of about 300 and some dollars, so a couple of more hours work that they might not have got it all done.
And this is just to tighten and
Tighten
redo any screws that
screws,
need to
right.
be done.
Right.
No sealer or
No,
anything.
no
put on it.
sealer or anything on it, so. Because as I recall, the bid on it was that they didn't want to put any sealant or elastic type covering
Right.
on it. So, okay, I will inform them that they can go ahead and,
Yeah, do we make a motion on
Have
that?
to-
I'll make a motion, we approve Weathercraft to do the repairs at the fairgrounds at what, 165 an hour?
$165 an hour, not to exceed 3,000.
3,000, yeah.
Or let us know if we're, you know, over that,
Yeah, I think that'd be the best way to go for now.
okay?
If you're okay with that, Harvey?
Yep, I'll second.
Okay.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the repairs to the fairgrounds, 3 buildings of the show barn and chicken barn and the beef barn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. You gentlemen, rest up, all 3 of us, or, you know?
Yeah, I asked for an executive.
Okay, that's what that's for. And I already talked about the roof a little bit from, I checked in yesterday and,
After I talked to him last night before they went home, and supposedly they have found the leak, and they were coming back today to try to fix it.
okay, very good.
Yeah.
And then And then, were they gonna cut a different spot for the one drain?
Yeah, they're supposed to be moving 3 of them.
3 of them?
Three of the 4.
The ones that we talked about?
No, clear up on top they,
Oh, they found more?
well, there's 4 drains up there on that top, where we walked out to that door.
Uh-huh.
They put them right over the electrical boxes, so the water runs off the roof straight down to the electrical box. I said, I'm not thinking that's a real good idea.
No? Okay.
Could get some shocking results.
Yeah,
if that's-
we fixed it so the water's not running out the inside of the building out in the electrical box, so let's not try to make it run on the inside.
No.
Yes, okay.
Well, keep us posted.
Well,
Okay, now I can call a meeting of the Waste Management.
Solid waste, 5-year plan, public hearing.
Okay, the Waste Management 5-year plan, public hearing. We've all should have got the updates on it and talked about the different things that we have to adopt, and I think we signed all these resolutions to get it. Are there any questions on it? There was no changes that we knew of at this time. Any questions, Kevin?
I didn't have any.
Okay, I'll need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the waste management program.
I second the motion.
Plan.
Been moved and approved that we approve the 5-year
5-year.
plan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign, motion is passed. Now we can close the waste management, hearing. Do I have to have a motion to close that, or we need a motion to close the hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor that we close, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose the same sign, motion is passed. Do you want me to fill these dates and times out on this? It says like the date required to solid waste committee meeting. Okay. Okay, executive session. Who all do you want for executive session, sir?
Sheriff, Commissioners Brett, Ashley.
Okay,
And how long?
How
do you
long?
need- Yeah, how long do you need it?
Like 10 minutes.
10
let's
minutes.
go 10 minutes. So,
For non-elected personnel.
I make a motion, we go to executive session for non-elected personnel
to 8:30.
till 8:30, starting now.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign, motion is passed. Meeting of the Sherman County Board of Commissioners come back to order. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
And Chad, let that door close because we hear the outside noise. Thank you. We have,
I make a motion that we approve the letter of support for the city of Goodland for their backup generator grant.
I'll second that.
big movement is seconded. We approve the letter of support for the backup generator at the dispatch out at the armory. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Post same sign. Motion is passed. Ms. Stanley.
So I get 45 minutes.
If that's what it takes, yes, I guess so.
Um, Before I get to why I came in here, we did get an email that went, and I think you guys received it, but you know, they're not always great about updating new commissioners, so I didn't want to assume that you received it. But I just made one copy of pass it around. It's the new property tax changes, and then like election and revenue neutral rate changes and stuff for our offices. And if you guys want a digital copy, and if you didn't get it, I will forward that to you. But every year PVD,
I don't think I got it.
okay,
I haven't
kind
seen
of-
anything.
So
okay.
if you can
Yeah, we'll make
pass
copies.
it forward
Okay.
and on an email is fine.
Yeah, we'll get it to you.
Okay.
Just so you kind of are in the loop of all the different changes. The changes for our office are January 1, personal property. A lot of it will now be exempt. So watercraft, trailers that weigh under 15,000 pounds, golf carts, four-wheelers, UTVs, hot air balloons, snowmobiles. Those kind of things
I
are
was
now
worried about the
exempt from
hot air
taxes.
balloon,
yeah.
So, yep, that's in the bill. We don't actually have any hot air balloons, but that is on the list.
I'm gonna get one now.
Yeah, yeah,
It's exempt.
you have to give us a ride. But so those are some of the changes for the appraiser's office. They did get rid of the 1.5 mils that the state had on the taxes, so we'll get rid of that. And then a lot of deadlines for budgets and R&R and election stuff that's stuff I don't deal with. But yeah, those are all the changes that we know about. All of them go into effect after July 1. The stuff for our office goes into effect January 1, 2026. But yeah, lots of changes this year.
Yes.
So how will that affect our budget?
So-
Will we lose a bunch of money that we're gonna have to?
We're gonna lose some money, yeah. A lot of the trailers and stuff were probably already farm use, and I'd have to look. Our personal property is all kind of mixed together, so it's hard to tell how much value. We will be losing some value, but it's one of those things. We actually, our appraiser association advocated for some of that. We didn't know they were going to add all of those items in there. We were advocating for like the golf carts, the four-wheelers, and UTVs because unless we get a list from the city or the golf course, people don't title them. We have no idea of knowing who has them. And so we felt like it was kind of an unfair tax that if you're honest, you told us about it, you're paying taxes. If you're hiding it in your garage and we didn't know about it, you're not paying. So it's not really fair. But yeah, they lumped a bunch of stuff in there that they we didn't expect them to lump in there, but it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, we will be losing some personal property value on that end. So yeah, so I need an executive session, please, for 15 minutes for non-elect personnel issues.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion. Do we go into executive session for, how about 10 minutes?
10,
15.
15 minutes.
15 till 10 till?
Who else do you want besides commissioners? Anybody?
I don't care. So, I mean, Brett and Ashley can stay here if they want.
Okay.
Eric.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded, the executive session with commissioners and Ashley, Eric, and Brett. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Both same sign. Motion is passed. Meeting will come back to order, please. Good. So we need to do a resolution to reappoint Michelle for a 4-year term. So,
I'll make a motion that we do a resolution to reappoint, is it Rachel? Rochelle
Michelle.
Stanley for 4 more years.
I second.
Been moved and seconded, we approve a resolution to continue with Ms. Stanley's capabilities. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Actually, we'll have a letter for me to sign then. So, okay.
Thank you for that.
And thank you for the
Yeah,
heads up on this.
try to keep you guys informed of, because there's so much that goes on at legislators that when it, you know, a lot of things that get passed have a bigger impact on us because, you know, eastern Kansas, you know, is usually where the bills come from, and so they don't always look how it impacts us, so it's important that we pay attention to that. Just a couple things going on. We're doing our re-inspection, which, so once every 6 years, we have to go out and physically look at the properties. We update our pictures. We are always in our county vehicle that has marked appraiser on it. Every employee has a badge. And so if you, somebody says that there's, you know, if you get a call and says someone's on their property and they do not have a badge and they're not in that county vehicle, you tell them, call the sheriff. So there have been instances where people have posed, and also we do not go in properties at this time of year. If somebody wants us to go in their house, they make an appointment and I'll be the one to do that. So somebody, there have been times where people have posed as a county appraiser's office, want to go in people's homes, and we do not do that. So I always tell them, just call the sheriff. It's always better to be safe than sorry. And I've had people too that have, they've been home and, you know, called the sheriff or whatever when I'm standing there, and I'm fine with that too. I'd rather, you know, older people are very trusting. They're always, oh, come in, you know, and they want to visit with you. And as much as I would like to, it's like, you don't know me, you know, I don't trust people to come in your homes. So
When will you start this?
we've already started
You've started
it.
it,
Yep. Well,
okay.
pretty much lasts all summer. So we have 6,400 parcels in the county. So we do a little over 1,000 parcels every year.
Okay.
Yep. And then we just this week received the paperwork from the Board of Tax Appeals on the economic development exemption for the Schooler Crush plant. Exciting. It's the first one in our county's history. So they created, I believe the paperwork said 31 jobs. So they get a 10-year exemption from their property taxes with the exception of the school capital outlay. And every year they have to fill out paperwork saying they meet the criteria that you guys set forth when you put together that plan. And so as long as they meet those conditions, they get that exemption. That EDX, economic development exemptions, they are for any manufacturing kind of properties. So even a small mom and pops organization, if you know, whatever criteria you guys set forth, if you say, hey, if you created 5 jobs and you can set whatever percentage you want them to get. So if someone's going to build a new manufacturing and they're only going to create, say, 5 jobs, and you want to give them a 50% exemption or whatever, you can do that. But yep, that did come back. Got all the paperwork to Ashley, so I think we're good for when she works on her mill levies. And then neighborhood revitalization, our rebate plan we have. So the rebate plan, you get a rebate for 5 years after your project's done, and you have to pay your taxes on time in order to receive those rebates. We have had several people that are delinquent this year, so you may get calls about that. Katrina gives me a list, and then I go into our software and like disable the people that get rebates. So we've had probably 5 at the second half taxes and probably 2 or 3 at the first half taxes. So we do try to remind people every time I talk to them about NRP pay your taxes on time, so.
Cause that automatically kicks them out of the rest of the program,
It
right?
does, so if you're, it doesn't matter if you're in year 1 or year 5, you get out, you're out of the program for the rest of the 5 years, so, yeah. So, yep. So that's all I have. So anything you guys have for me?
Not at this
Nope.
I
time.
don't think so.
We'll get you that.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. We'll get you that list to all of you, and I'll go through, I'll email the person that sent that and see if they'll add your email, since it's probably
Okay.
old, probably went to the former commissioners
Probably,
from a long
yeah.
time ago.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
okay, thanks,
Thank you
guys.
very
you.
much.
I have an appointment at 9:15. Do you have a contact? I have a contact number for him.
I'll bring it up here.
Yes, sir, we're running a little fast, so if you want to come in anytime, you're more than welcome. Okay. Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, Jacob will be here in about 5 minutes, so. And I did receive a text from Mr. Dwell. See what it said here. Waiting for a quote. Vendor area, if you allow me to execute the plan, Marty and I have it. It will work. And I feel it is an affordable option. Well, I need to know what that plan is yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because remember, we were still talking about 3-phase.
3-phase and single phase, and
Uh-huh.
he's talking with the city because there's not, they wanna put in a 200 amp, and the city doesn't have quite that. That's why they're looking at single phase, or 3-phase over
Yes.
single phase, but I gotta convert that back down somewhere. So I will be in touch with Aaron again. So. Myself a note to go to Hitchcock's.
Speaking of Hitchcock's, the generator is wired and plumbed, so gas was finally hooked up Wednesday or Thursday completely. Mark has been out and was working on the final connections. I don't know if he got a test run yesterday or not,
Okay.
but we're like,
You're real close to
Real
finishing
close.
it, okay?
So then we've got, it'll be on a Saturday and they'll shut down
it's done.
it's done and,
Marty came
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago, and did it on a Saturday.
okay, so it's. And your progress, okay, on, to get the roof ceiling lowered in your,
It is done. I'm just
Yes.
waiting for carpet. And I need to call
Okay.
Charlie here this morning, let him know everything's done and he can start whenever the carpet's in.
Okay.
for the whole first floor, and
Carpets on site, did it get put
yeah,
in the
it's in the
building?
storage building, yeah.
That's what William told me he was gonna do.
Yeah,
And Eric got me a card for Charlie that will give him access to the storage building, this east door, and first floor offices, so.
very good.
It somewhat looks like an office again and not a construction zone.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Well, it works out pretty good that they can open the windows and take
Yeah.
stuff right out there and not have to track through the whole first floor of courthouse stuff. Jacob said he'd be here in about 5 minutes, so. Well, that was a fast 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah, I was at work, so I already had to pick up Ron.
Please come on up.
How's it going today?
Not too bad, not too bad. Go ahead and tell us what I know you've been trying to get everything in line you're looking at mud races in October?
We were looking at October. Now we're looking at September 13th, if it works with you
Okay.
guys. I've talked with Rod Roeder about digging the pits. He's good with that. We were wanting to run a Kansas Mud Race Organization sanction, so that will cover our insurance side of things. We have to go through a sanction agreement, and it covers everything on that side. Yeah, I mean, I think we pretty well got everything covered. I talked with B&K Pumping about porta potties. I pretty well got that lined out. I think I pretty well have everything covered
Okay.
other than getting permission from you guys.
So where are you gonna do this at?
It's basically where the arena used to be in the circle track where they do the demolition derby and everything. Basically, we're wanting to set two pits side by side, headed south to north.
Okay,
The last time we did it, we went north to south. And I think the reason we did that was because of the way the arena was shaped. It had the panels up and everything that it closed down our shutdown area. So now that nothing is up there, we can flip it and bring them the other way, and it opens everything up.
opens up everything because I remember there's a couple of vehicles that come across that pit and went way high on the track and
Yeah,
things weren't real happy there,
yeah.
so.
So I think if we do it the other direction, we can actually move the pits farther south and give ourselves a longer shutdown area.
Okay.
But I will have to make sure there's nothing buried on that side. I know the main power line runs across the north side of the arena,
Right,
and that kind of forces us to step it down south a little bit so we don't hit that power line again. We hit it a few years ago.
And this is a couple weeks before Flatlanders, so it would all be put back together.
That's kind of on Rod Roeder. Basically, a lot of that is determined by how much or how long it takes for it to dry out and how long it takes them to go back and fill them in.
Okay.
Because he was going to dig them and fill them back in. So that's kind of his side of things. He didn't think it would be any issue to
Any
have it
issue.
done within the next week. I know I talked with the stock car board last weekend, and they were okay with everything as long as we got it put back together. But I mean,
There are no races this year.
yeah, they
There's no
announced,
races this year, so even Flatlanders is canceled.
Yeah.
Okay,
they announced
I
that.
don't
this
have
Certainly,
any-
you've got openings with.
I have no issues then. So
Okay.
I don't have it.
Can you get us a contract of your insurance so our
Yes.
attorney can look at it and make sure everything's
I'm hoping to pick that up this weekend.
okay?
Tomorrow, we have a race in Salina tomorrow. I'm hoping to pick it up this weekend. If not, I would think I could get it next weekend from
Okay.
Glenn, because we go to Junction City next weekend.
Okay. So,
So,
sounds like you pretty well got your ducks lined up, so.
well, I hope so.
how many racers would show up? Like I know
A,
it's been a few years, so
a lot of that is determined by added prize money. And that's the other part of why we decided to do a KMRO sanction event, because anybody that runs the point series with
Right.
the KMRO, you're obligated to show up.
okay.
Where we only have about 7 races this year. If you miss a race, you've pretty well.
So it could bring a
It-
big group.
I'm hoping. I've talked with all the guys out in the Colorado area because they run a totally separate organization. That day is free for them. So I'm not going to say I've got commitments from them, but they said they would come
Mhm.
on that date. Like the KMRO side of things, we average 50 to 60 trucks per week. The Colorado side of things, if all of those guys would come, which is a very slight chance that all of them would come, but I would guess you would bring 10 to 20 trucks from Colorado. And if we can get enough sponsorship added prize money, I would like to think that we could pull some of the Nebraska guys down, because they have some of that stuff up in the North Platte area. But if it was a big event, I would say 80 trucks. If it's kind of a mediocre event, we're probably talking 30, 40 trucks. On average, we usually get, when we did one here 3 years ago, I think we had 32 trucks. When we did one in Shine Wells 2 years ago, I think we were like 40 some trucks. And then spectator side of things is kind of give and take. You don't know. I mean, you never know that until the day of.
Right.
I know it's $10 a person to walk through the gate, whether you go in the grandstands or you go to the pit side of the area. It's $10. Usually we try to separate everything. If you're not coming in with a truck, we prefer people
Right.
to go to the grandstands.
But without the races, it might bring some extra people looking for something to do. So
I would hope so, but I mean,
yeah, you never know.
I've seen everywhere from 20 people in the stands to 400 people in the stands. And we travel quite a bit. I mean, like I said, we're going to Salina this weekend. We'll go to Junction City next weekend. We travel into Missouri. I've been in Wyoming. We've been in Oklahoma. Colorado has kind of faded out. They've got 1 or 2 races a year anymore. I think we're planning to go to Dulce, New Mexico in July to see what they're doing down there. I've never been to New Mexico, but I know, like the group of guys that I usually travel with, we're 30, 40 people traveling together.
Yep.
So
tentatively, you need to reserve the fairgrounds for September 13th.
Yep.
And probably day before and the day after to set up and tear down for your part of it.
probably,
You've been in contact with Mr. Roeder about digging the pits and filling the pits in.
Yep.
And stuff, so. Get a motion to approve that weekend.
I'll make a motion. Approve having mud races on September 13th.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Okay, if you can get, your insurance, when, get the opportunity to let, Mr. Magnan look at it, we're good to go then.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what it costs to rent the fairgrounds for that section?
Do you remember what it was last time?
I want to say it was around $500, but I don't remember.
I'll have her look. Can I call you with that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So.
So if we can
Alrighty.
bring some people into town and get some,
Hopefully it works out really good for you. We're
I would
looking
like
forward.
it to. I need to visit with some of the people that own the motels here in town and see if we can't try to get a
Okay.
little something set up there. The only one I know of that has enough room to park pickups and trailers and everything else is going to be on the south side of the interstate.
Mhm.
But because most the people that would come from the Kansas Mud Race organization are, I mean, the closest one's about 4 hours away. So
Yeah.
they're going to travel a ways.
Yeah.
And if they're going to travel out here, I would assume they would travel out here Saturday morning, stay the night, go
Right.
home Sunday. I know after every race, we usually take about 30 people and we all go out to eat somewhere. We'll make a reservation and we go out and 30 of us sit down and have the good supper together, and then everybody parts their ways and away we go.
And it's an all-day event. What time does it usually get over?
Usually we'll start at noon, 1 o'clock,
Mhm.
and then if things go smoothly, we'll be done anywhere from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Depending on how many trucks show up and how smoothly it runs.
Okay.
Pit conditioning is a lot to that. If we got to pull trucks out all day, it takes forever.
Mhm.
If most everybody's making it through, then we can click off 100 trucks in a couple hours.
because isn't it the rule, if you get stuck, you gotta get out and hook up your own truck to the
Yep.
tow people, okay?
Yep. And we
Don't
usually
get stuck.
a 300-foot cable travels around with us, and it's usually up to whoever's putting the race on to have a piece of equipment there. I've got a guy that's got a 4-wheel drive tractor. He'll bring it to town. I don't foresee it. The last couple pits that I've been involved in, we were running 6 to 10 seconds with our full-size pickups. The lighter stuff, the faster stuff, those guys are traveling 200 feet in 3 to 4 seconds.
Well,
So, and I have one of each.
Okay,
well,
So-
sounds good. Looking forward to it. So,
Alrighty, well, I appreciate you guys' time,
you
and
bet.
I will be in contact whenever we get a insurance contract, and we'll go from there.
okay.
good enough. We appreciate
Yep.
it. Thanks for
Alrighty,
coming in.
thank you. You guys have a good one.
You too. Is there anything else that needs to be brought forward at this time?
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
One item, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Ashley went back and looked at our previous minutes. You guys discussed making a change at Smoky Gardens for it to be a county employee, and at the time, we did have a motion and vote appointing Mr. Sanderson as our liaison with Wildlife and Parks. I think we need to have the motion and second to change that to
Rod Road, okay.
So I'll make a motion to put Rod Roder as our liaison to the wildlife parks.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thank you, Brett.
Thank Ashley, because I had forgotten about it until she handed me this.
If we don't have anything else, I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
Been moved and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign.